Hi, my name is Ryan Bravata at Dutchtown High School in Ascension Parish. This lesson will feature seniors in AP World History. The lesson is centered around introducing a causation essay for the AP exam. Previously, the students have been working on comparison essays for the long essay question for the AP World exam. There's 4 major historical thinking skills within AP World History: causation, comparison, contextualization, and continuity and change over time. This lesson will focus specifically on the formulation of a complex causation thesis in order to provide the proper foundation to the essay. At the beginning of the class, the students will formulate a causation thesis based off of a prompt. They are going to utilize their knowledge that they've learned from writing comparison essays and try to translate that knowledge to formulate a good, solid causation thesis. In order to formulate a good causation thesis, the students need to qualify minor and major causes, as well as differentiating between short-term and long-term effects. This will help them achieve the complexity point that will help them score the maximum amount of points for the essay question on the rubric. Additionally, they need to try to specify certain pieces of evidence and which appropriate world history theme they fall under, whether it is social, political, interaction with the environment, cultural, or economic. In order to do this, I've arranged pieces of evidence for them to analyze based off of the West African king of Mali, Mansa Musa, and his pilgrimage to Mecca. In groups that I've arranged according to academic ability, they will take the pieces of information. They will discuss which appropriate theme they belong in, as well as trying to sort them into causes while differentiating between minor and major causes, as well as separating them into short-term and long-term effects. This will help them build the skills that they need in order to create a complex, nuanced thesis in order to properly build their way into formulating a quality essay on the AP exam. I know we haven't done causation thesis yet, but using what you have learned for a comparison thesis, make one using the Islamic Empire. Okay.
Just because of the use of Islamic faith.
These are factual statements, but it's not a high quality thesis. Get into why. Listen, I'm more worried about the structure than the specific content. Okay? Try to develop it. If we will fine tune the language. You know what to do for a comparison thesis and what I expect out of it. So just apply that to a causation thesis.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, so it's like, it's not like there's a distinct Islamic Empire. It was this one, and there goes like renditions of it.
So what's the first thing in this exemplar model that you noticed that perhaps you didn't do? Lofton?
It references back to the period before as a cause.
In the second sentence,
Right.
right? Which is good. Does that relate to the prompt that we had? The one that we just had for the rise of the Islamic empires. Who labeled their thesis by actually saying cause? One person? So like 2 people? 3? Alright, so that's number 1. You have to actually label the causes and effects by explicitly saying a cause, an effect. But even before then, what's the first sentence? Peyton? Referencing the time period back to the prompt. You have to harken back to that, one, so that you make sure that you understand the scope of the question. Second, label the causes and effects. What else does this do that perhaps you didn't do?
It differentiates between long-term economic and then proximate effects.
Very good. Next, you have to qualify. By that, what Richie pointed out, that qualification for causes needs to be either major or minor. So if you write a cause, you need to state whether it's a major cause or a minor clause. How do they qualify the effect? As she said, proximate or long term. Proximate means immediate, or like close, it's proximate. Or long term. So qualify both. Is it a major cause or a minor cause? Is the effect proximate or is it long term? So there's one other thing that's in here that they did that many of you didn't.
They stated like what type of effects it is, like economic.
Yep. They added spice to it. Okay? Many of you just, that's the reason why we've been doing it, correct? When we're doing these, you need to make sure that there's differentiation. You're labeling the cause and the effect. You're qualifying the causes as major or minor. You're qualifying the effects as proximate or long term, and then you're putting them in the appropriate thematic, standard. The final other thing is the rule of three is still applying. What's the rule of three as it relates to comparison LEQ, like thesis statements? How's that? Yeah. One similarity, two differences.
Or two similarities or one difference.
Correct. So, one cause, two effects, two causes, one effect. And qualify everything. Why are we doing it this way? Now, could you get a thesis point without all of those qualifications? Keandra? Is that what we're aiming for, though? Are we aiming to only get the thesis point? Why am I saying that we need all of these qualifications, Keandra?
Complexity.
Because we want the unicorn point. We want the complexity point. By writing it this way, you are setting yourself up immediately for the complexity point. Because if you fully answer that thesis statement and then make your topic sentences of each of your three body paragraphs based on the three things that you're setting out. So in the first column, the first column is long-term causes. All right? Long-term causes. Your second column is immediate effects. And your third column is going to be your long-term effects. Right, so like there's necessary preconditions in place that lead to the conversion of Islam, which then lead to the turning point of him taking the pilgrimage to Mecca. Once he has the Hajj, like once he completes one of the pillars of Islam, then there's immediate effects of the Hajj and then long-term effects. But there's necessary conditions for him converting to Islam, right? The domestication of the camel, right? Trans-Saharan trade routes developing, the rise of Islam, all of that stuff. So causes, immediate effects, long-term. Of the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca.
No, it's fine.
So again,
Short term.
his conversion is the immediate cause. The Hajj is the turning point. So what is the immediate effect of the pilgrimage to Mecca? And then what is the long-term effects to the pilgrimage to Mecca? Okay, get out a piece of paper. You're going to formulate a new thesis. Okay? After your thesis, I want context. I'll go ahead and put it up on here. But after the thesis, put the context, and then I want 3 topic sentences based off of the
I didn't really understand how to do the prompt, so I wrote mainly about the very broad subjects, and he went a little bit more specific.
What percentage of increase would you say?
100. I
Really?
don't even think this was answered. I don't know what I was answering. I kind of figured, like, he kind of explained more, like, this is Islam, and, like, so it kind of brought, because before when I read it, I didn't think Islam at first, and then state a cause and effect.
You didn't do that the first.
I kind of said it, like I said, due to the location of trade. So I just said it was like causational, but like it wasn't explicit. So like I think explicitly stating it will actually like keep you on topic. And then focus on long term versus short term. That's important too. Yeah.
This is my beginning prompt. This was the first one I did. This is a paper boat with a banana and a pumpkin on it because I was so frustrated that I had no idea what I was doing at all. This is my new and improved thesis that I don't hate and now understand. So if I can go from this to this
In one class period.
in one class period, anyone else can.
Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that lesson. The lesson objectives were definitely met. I was extremely impressed with the tremendous amount of growth that the students displayed. At the beginning of the class, for a bell ringer, they wrote a causation thesis, utilizing their previous knowledge. And though some were able to meet the minimum standards of what would be an acceptable thesis on the AP rubric, none were able to achieve a well-written thesis statement that is aimed at gaining that complexity point through qualification of minor versus major causes and through the differentiation between short-term and long-term effects. But due to their ability to gain those skills during the lesson, when we wrote the thesis statements again and they were able to refine their thinking process and hone their ability to write a complex thesis statement, they were able to achieve that. Nearly all the students were able to meet the minimum standard of an acceptable thesis, and the majority were able to write a thesis statement aimed at getting that complexity point. If I had to do one thing differently, the one thing I would change is that I made the organization of the evidence into the different categories of causation and minor and major effects, and just sort of a competition between the groups. And though this created a more engaging atmosphere, it lowered the methodical approach and lessened the contemplation for some of the thinking that I wanted. But overall, they displayed tremendous growth. Moving forward, we will continue to hone their skills at formulating a causation thesis, as well as building upon that solid foundation to form a cogent and cohesive full essay, one in which they're providing specific historical evidence and solid analysis and reasoning. From there, we'll continue our content knowledge in order to respond to a wider array of historical prompts. Thank you.